We're live. Welcome to the 7 o'clock talk. And we're going to continue our talk about digestion and diagnoses. And I'm going to let Jessica talk about her experience in the hospital and taking care of people with this and how these issues, if left unresolved, how they progress. So I'll leave it to you because you got to watch it in the hospital, how it progressed, because other than giving them stuff to either stop them up or make them go.
No, we never did either. We never stopped them up.
Well, I meant slow them down if they got diarrhea.
We don't do that either.
Really?
No.
But they definitely don't fix it.
Well, I guess there's two ends of the chart there. People came in because they didn't go, and then you had people that came in because they couldn't stop going, but there were different things, but they all related to the gut.
Uh-huh.
So people that just can't stop going, we call that short gut. Usually that's related to a bowel surgery or of some sort. Usually bariatrics, where they shorten the gut or manipulate it in some sort of way. But a lot of times the people came in because they couldn't go, and they were that just.
Well, how'd you see these people progress?
Or how they present and then progress.
Yeah, how they progress, because if they don't fix
they
their
always
gut,
ended up with I don't know that we ever fixed it.
I know.
Most of it ended up in surgeries, and then they ended up on meds, and then just the quality of their life went down because they may have most of the time, in order to fix the problem, you had to remove the problem, which removing the problem created a different problem. So then they got malnourished, they couldn't digest their nutrients, they got more blockages, which resulted in more G tubes and more surgery, bowel rest, multiple rounds of antibiotics.
So let me ask this question. Did the surgeries actually resolve and cure and fix the problem?
I would say 90+% of the time, no. It may have fixed the time being. They felt better, but in the long haul, over the 12 years that I did it, they always tended to come back.
And that's kind of the TAC rule. If you're sitting on a TAC, it takes a whole lot of aspirin, ibuprofen, or Advil to make that pain go away. And if you're sitting on 2 TACs, taking 1 TAC out doesn't decrease the pain by 50%. And in medicine, we like to name it and blame it. And the problem with naming and blaming is the minute we have it named, we think we've done the job. And we now know that is not the job. So some quick things, and we're just kind of expanding on what we did last week. But if you look at the Bristol stool chart, and you can go online and you can find this anywhere. But if your stool, when you go to the bathroom, isn't like this 3 and 4, then you have a problem. And that's something that you really need to start to dig into. As long as you're in the realm of 3 and 4, down to a 2 or maybe up to a 5, these are pretty easy to self-diagnose and take care of.
And the number one reason that people's stool looks like that is
lack of fiber, lack of water, poor nutrition.
Water. You could easily fix 90% of constipation with water, but most people say, "Oh, I drink all kinds of stuff. I drink all day long." Well, what do you drink? Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Diet Coke. And it really, before you.
There are 3 things you should drink.
Throw anything at your gut, if you are bloated and swollen and you can't go, drink water first, and then add high fiber foods
and electrolytes.
Yes.
So here's something that you can actually do, this digestive transit time. A healthy gut. So first off, if you're going to the bathroom, anywhere from 1 to 3 times a day, and it looks like number 3 or 4, you're doing all right. But some people can have a very slow transit time and still be going to the bathroom every day, but they're just constantly backed up. So if you want to know what your transit time is, there are 3 things that you can do. One is you can take about 4 or 5 activated charcoal tablets, and when you go to the bathroom, you look at your stool, and when the stool starts to be black, so you mark when you took the charcoal tablets, you mark the first time you see black, and then the last time you see black. And a good transit time is anywhere from 24 to about 30 hours tops. But we like that 12 to 24 time because that means you have good motility. Everything is moving, and that's what you want to do. You can use charcoal tabs, you can use half a cup to a cup of corn, or you can use beets. Beets might freak you out a little bit.
We'll tell them what happens. Your stool will actually look blood red.
Yeah, your stool.
Not beet colored red. It will be like maroon, like blood red. And people have actually come to the hospital thinking they had GI bleeds.
Yeah, because it looks like you got a GI bleed. And so after that stuff starts, you've got to really get on top of that and take care of it. And if you catch it early, it's not hard. You don't have to see a functional medicine doctor. You don't have to go to the hospital. You take out the offending foods. And pretty much if you sit back, almost all of our patients that we've sat down with, when we ask them, what do you eat? They all pretty much know that what they're eating is not what they should be eating.
Well, so I giggle a lot because if we could just get people to understand that their diet is everything, they could probably fix 80%. I'm going to guess that might be a little high, but I don't think so. I actually think maybe it's a little low. I think they could fix 80% of their issues. We had an acquaintance, we'll say, come up, and she was talking about her story. Hadn't been able to lose weight, menopausal. She did get her bioidentical hormones. Still didn't lose weight. Actually, was consciously trying, and then all of a sudden, she started having pain between her shoulder blades, acid reflux. So what she was having was a gallbladder attack. So her thought process is, well, I just need to make it until I can make it to the doctor in June, right? So she changed her diet, which she immediately started losing weight, has all kinds of energy, doesn't have that bloated, I can't breathe feeling. But they just still wait for that next appointment. And then I thought,
we're trained very well by the media. Why do you need
the HIDA scan to diagnose that you have gallstones if you change your diet and that fixes the problem? And you can reverse the sludge in your gallbladder, but it does take time, and you have to eat right.
Cholagogues and bitters.
This person didn't miss the high-fat diet they had been eating. And was enjoying the new recipes, but still the mindset was, let me just make it to my next doctor's appointment and they'll fix it. So the fixing of the problem isn't really fixing of the problem, because if you go ahead and take out your gallbladder, you will get rid of the inflammation almost immediately. And then but then you open up a new set of issues, because if you go back to your high-fat diet, then you get diarrhea because your body doesn't have the ability to emulsify the fat. And so then they want to put you on another drug that helps emulsify the fat. But did you really take care of the problem? You just honestly just created another problem. So if we could just figure out how to get people to think about their diet and actually realize that there's a correlation between what you eat and who you are.
How you feel. The study on the microbiome. And that's why this is very important. The studies on the microbiome are linked to depression, anxiety. They're related to the immune system in the microbiome are Siamese twins. They are joined together, and you just cannot separate the immune system and the microbiome. But that also leads to your neurotransmitters, which is that depression and anxiety. And it all starts when we start having these issues with, I've got diarrhea every day. I can't, my dad, God rest his soul, his favorite line was, I can't trust the fart. And if you're living that way, are you truly living? And it's a pretty easy fix. And if you do what we say to do and increase your water, and you start doing the 30 to 40 grams of fiber per day, and you're still having issues, that's when you come and see somebody like me. But really, people, get rid of all of these processed convenience foods.
Well, yeah, or at
They are
least try that.
junk.
Try that first before you run to a doctor for another strip.
Yeah,
and we're not perfect.
Oh no.
I mean, I'm heavy, and I have a great diet, and we exercise, and we live a pretty nice life. But we still eat sometimes I go eat me a cheeseburger. That's just being defiant. I know what I'm supposed to do, and I know, but I also know what it's going to do to me. So I chose for the reaction. And people they just eat, and they don't even realize that it's a choice they're making.
Anything that you put into your mouth is a choice. And hey, the other day, somebody told me McDonald's had their $6 Big Macs, and I still like those stupid things. I don't know what it is. I think it's high school.
You can actually make those healthy without the bun, but you can actually make that
salad. Yeah, you made that
a healthy version of it.
Healthier.
And so we're not saying that you can't have anything that you enjoy, because we all enjoy life. So, but you can have it as a treat, and it's a choice. You choose to treat yourself with your junk food, but then you also choose to live a healthy life.
Well, if you have that type of if you're eating food, if you have diarrhea and constipation, you are absolutely eating something or some things that are not agreeing with you. Some people do have eating disorders, and that's something that needs to be addressed. But for the vast majority of people, why did I eat the Big Macs? Because it reminded me of high school. And I remember sitting there with my friends.
Well, most food is associated with memories. Smells also.
Memories, and it's associated with comfort and with love. And if you're using that stuff that way, and you're making those associations, and you think that you're in lack of, then there's something here that you need to work on because all that happiness comes from within.
Because that's no different than grabbing a alcoholic drink or a cigarette or your Diet Coke, because that's just what you do. That's your me time.
Give me a Big Mac Light.
Well, if you're using food and substance as a vice, then you have a bigger problem.
Yep. If you rely on it. So I only did it one time, and then I quit. But as another thing, I mean, we have a great diet. We're getting ready to run her. We were supposed to pull your labs. We got to pull your labs again. But we're going to run her labs again, and her NMR, her cholesterol was off, as was mine. I cut my cholesterol by a third. I don't know if we discussed that.
I think mine was off.
Yours was off. I went back and looked at it, the NMR, the cholesterol. So mine was a thyroid issue.
Oh, and cholesterol, because I don't eat a lot of fat, but cholesterol can be associated with hormone imbalances.
Yep, especially the LDLs. So Yes, sometimes there is a little more. Mine's a thyroid. I have an autoimmune thyroid issue going on, but that's why this is an art.
Well, yeah, and everything is connected. So talking about the NMR and the, like, um, so I'm always like to learn, but everything the gist of it is everything is so closely connected. Like you tweak this little bit over here, and you've shook the web over here. So uh, I have testosterone pellets, and I really love them. And I need to go back and get more, but I don't like to just do it because it's 4 months and you need to go, or 3 months. I kind of need to know that my testosterone is dropped out of a normal range before I go adding to it. So it's a little controlish, but that's us. But I also don't have estrogen. And I'm like, well, when do I know if I don't have estrogen? If I don't ever test for it, then how do I know I need it or don't need it? But what I did learn in my little researching
Sorry.
is estrogen and cortisol go hand in hand. So everybody's like, well, your cortisol is probably through the roof. You're just so stressed. And I'm like, but I don't feel stressed. Do I have stress? Yes, but I'm not running around here like chewing my nails off. Oh my gosh, I can't sleep. None of that. But I did learn that if your estrogen is low, your estrogen naturally balances cortisol. So if you don't have enough estrogen, then your cortisol just raises and raises and raises. So what that means is you store belly fat, you get thick legs, brain fog. So we've talked about hormones and how closely they're intertwined to the thyroid and to your heart. But I had never come across the cortisol estrogen connection. So now I'm like, well, I need to go check on my estrogen now again, because now I need to make sure that's in an optimal range, because that could be just another piece of the puzzle.
And how's all this linked with digestion and elimination? If you don't have enough fiber in your diet, when your body is trying to eliminate the estrogen is bound by fiber and pulled out in the stool. So you can go through what they call hepatic recirculation. And so, or not hepatic, but you'll get endotoxemic recirculation. So that will sit in the gut, and that's why you got to know your transit time. Because if you're not moving things through the gut and it sits there, if you leave food at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit outside on your picnic table or whatever, what's that going to look like in 24 to 48 hours or 36 or more? It's going to be rotten. It's going to be foul. It's going to cause inside you, it's going to cause those tight knit junctions to open up because LPS is going to be present. And that's why you've got to make sure that you're having that 12 to 24 hour transit time.
Well, and you'll also reuptake the estrogen that you're meant to eliminate.
Yep.
And low testosterone will actually cause constipation.
And the sign for that is, especially if you're female, is beta glucuronidase. If your beta glucuronidase goes high, then we know that you're recirculating your estrogen. And that's especially important for people who have the BRCA genes. Even though the BRCA genetics are only about 30%, there's only a 30% increased chance that you're going to get cancer if you have the BRCA genes. But if you have the BRCA genes, you've got to do everything you can to make sure that estrogen is processed and removed. With that being said,
drink your water, eat your fiber, and it is not normal to be constipated or have diarrhea.
Yep.
Multiple times a week.
If you need help, call the clinic. We'll get you in. We'll set you up with a complimentary consult. And I will have our marketing people put that put the transit time on here so you guys can download that, and then you can just do it at your home. So
it's never okay to have constipation, but don't stop diarrhea if you have actually been ill with a virus, because
that's how your body gets it out.
Yes, because all you're doing is causing it to store it inside, and you cause yourself a huge problem. Let it run its course for a few days. Just keep yourself hydrated with electrolytes, and please don't run out and grab Gatorade. It's horrible for you.
Oh no, we've got some great stuff called LMNT, element salts. They're fabulous. Well, thank you all. Have a great night.